I'm in the yard chilling, regular spinning. Next thing you know, you hear the alarm, everything shut down. Everybody get on the floor, we in the freezing snow. Everybody on the floor, face down. And I hear something happen with my man, individual that I deal with. As you walking back to the unit, you see a trail of blood, right? And then you come to the realization that as you see that trail of blood through the snow, through the hallways, all the way back to the unit, I see a man blood.
What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, getting down fresh out. And you tune into another edition of Prison Talk. I'm here with my man SoRich from NY. You know, we haven't had anybody on the show from NY yet, so shout out to New York. And we're gonna lace you guys up with some of these old prison stuff because, like I said, we're always trying to teach a life lesson here. And he's got some interesting stories. This man has lived a very diverse and interesting life. So Rich, man, you know, we sitting here chopping it up. And what would be one of the most memorable things that you would like to share with our audience in regards to, you know, what you've seen in prison? Because, you know, a lot of times, a lot of people out here in the hip hop industry, entertainment industry, they paint this fantasy, and a lot of kids just don't know how serious it is, man. What's something that really stuck out on your mind?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. Appreciate that. I mean, I could take it a lot of different directions, right? Like my first 2 weeks upstate, chilling, spinning the yard, you know, regular prison stories, right? Dude getting on the phone, it's an issue over the phone. Next thing you know, he got a finger long pole and he got a hand long pole in him, and he take 10 steps and he fall, he drops, right? But these are the stories that individuals used to hear, or I could tell you about how I'm in the yard chilling, regular spinning. Next thing you know, you hear the alarm, everything shut down. Everybody get on the floor, we in the freezing snow. Everybody on the floor, face down. And I hear something happen with my man, individual that I deal with. And then as you walking back to the unit, you see a trail of blood, right? And then you come to the realization that as you see that trail of blood through the snow, through the hallways, all the way back to the unit, I see a man blood. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole different, and that's something that I vividly remember, because that was a whole different type of feeling for me. Like, damn, like I'm looking at my man blood sprinkled throughout the hallways. Like, I know where he went, but the only reason I know where he at because I could follow the trail. And then the next thing on your mind is like, all right, I see a man, then what's gonna happen the next day, right? So you know when you come out on the lockout, that's a whole different type of situation that you gonna be in as an individual. But that's not the story that I want to share, right? The story that I want to share is something that hit me a little different, hit me a little personally. I used to go to the mess hall. I don't like going to the mess hall. I used to go to the mess hall, and every time for whatever reason, every time I would go in the mess hall, I would just stop at the door and just brief second and just look. And when I look, I would see what I call the sea of faces, right? I see nothing but, I mean, you know, in New York State, the majority of the prison population is black and brown. So I see a sea of black and brown faces, right? And then the first thing that would come to my mind, I got a son. And as we get deeper into the interview, I'm gonna tell you about my relationship with my son and how prison affected us, right? But it's a few dudes in the mess hall that I see. I know that's my man, he got 10 kids. He got 3 kids. He got a kid. And I look at this sea of black and brown faces and I think like, damn, how much fathers are represented in here? Or better yet, how much children are out there? Out of these 400 men, how much children are out there that don't have a father figure, that don't have somebody to look up to because we sitting behind these walls for whatever reason? And for me, that always touched me. That was always very like, that was painful to my heart, but that was also motivation to my spirit. Like, yo, listen, when you get up out of here, you got to make sure that you never a part of these sea of faces again, and your son never has to experience the things that he got to experience. Coming to visit you, 8-hour visit is great, and then he realized you got to leave. Crying. See, I see the tears well up in my son's eyes. Every time we had to leave the visit. Damn, Dad. Well, the worst part is when he's too young to understand where you at, so he asking you to come. Daddy, can come with us? Or, hey, Daddy, can I come with you? That was the worst one. Hey, Dad, can I come? I'm coming with you. He not even asking. Dad, I'm coming with you. You was playing basketball yesterday, right? He might have heard me tell my mom, my sister that, I was exercising playing. Dad, I want to play basketball. I'm coming with you. He don't understand what he's saying, but for me, number one, it hurts because I got to separate from him. Number two, subconsciously, I know the statistics. Young men with incarcerated fathers are much more likely to find themselves in a similar situation, right? So the undertone, when he's asking me to come with me, the undertone is playfully, but the undertone is, damn, if I don't shape up, if I don't do something, if I don't cultivate myself into an outstanding individual, right? Somebody that's powerful enough to overcome all the obstacles that are placed in my way just because I'm black, just because I'm in prison, it's a large chance that he may be in the bunk next to me, right? So for me, to answer your question, that sea of faces, going in the mental room every day and seeing that sea of faces, like, that was one of the most, that's a story that happened every day for me, but that was one of the most powerful things that transpired for me behind the wall.
If you're fed up with paying cable companies and streaming apps too much money every month, then Vault TV is the solution you've been waiting for. Watch up to 100,000 movies on demand, up to 5,000 TV shows with over 120,000 episodes. Visit us at vaulttv.com.
Now, when you made an interesting point when you talked about the fathers, and when I think about having a father figure and having that male role model, it wasn't until I got to the pen that I met an OG who was like almost 20 years my senior, who kind of taught me what it was like to be a black man, as far as somebody that had pride about themselves, somebody that kind of looked at the world with a sense of self, that wasn't with the bullshit, and was very articulate. This guy, he was a very polished dude, drove Porsches, Ferraris on the street, but had property, was into real estate, was a smart dude, wore his pants up high, used to walk, wasn't on no bullshit. And, I was drawn to that. And I like, man, because I never had that growing up. I had a stepdad, but he's a piece of shit, you know what I mean? I never met my real dad. But the thing is, and I get a bunch of kids that are like, damn, Big Herc, man, I wish I had a dad like you, man. I wish I had this. A lot of these kids don't have that. And when you think about, like, the majority of the guys I've came across, it's always their mama who was the ones predominantly in the picture. Some did have both parents, but a lot of times that little bit, as I've gotten older and I realize the importance, it's like, man, you need that in your life, and it's not promoted enough, I think, in our society, and the importance of it. And it was a major factor prior to the 60s. There was a lot of families had both black parents, both in the household. It was a totally different picture, man. And that, like you said, having you not being a picture, it increases your rates of going to prison by almost like 70% because of not having that. So I think that's a big factor. And when you look at the overall, just prison concept, and for one, when you look at like the self-hate, you hating on people. It's predominantly the violence is towards somebody look just like you. So dudes is talking about, oh man, this and that. I'm like, dude, most of the people you done beat up in your life look just like you. The people you pulled the gun on look just like you. The people that are really, running shit, you ain't did nothing to them. You doing it to the ones who in the same financial or social situation as yourself. So a lot of it comes that if you don't like yourself, how are you going to like anything outside of yourself? And having a sense of self-worth, I think, is what a lot of young men, in particular black men, are lacking, which leads them down a path where they feel like, it doesn't really matter. I don't have no value, and then they don't value other people's lives. So I think that's a major factor in a lot of the communities, and just being able to have that sense that you can do something outside of sports. Maybe trying to be the next Trippie Redd or whatever the case. You could be a coder, you could be an engineer, you could do stuff. You could do things that you wouldn't typically think you could do, but the potential is unlimited. I don't know if that's something that you've noticed, having dealt with various people in prison, and also working with kids, as far as them not realizing their potential or the lack of exposure to what they're capable of.
I mean, I think you hit it on the head, right? So, this platform is a prime example of something that highlights positive things that individuals can do, either coming out of prison or just as a black man, right? They can look at you and see themselves in you. But I'm a New York State vendor. I'm a New York State Department of Education vendor. I just got my license. And what that means is that I have the ability to go inside of New York State, I'm a New York City public school vendor. And what that means is that I have the ability to go inside New York City public schools and create workshops. So the first workshop I'm doing is on consequential thinking, right? Thinking about the things thinking for the future, right? We all know, I'm also a psychology major, right? So we know that, and this is true for myself, the brain is not fully developed until 25. For some people, they say in 30, right? So I got incarcerated when I was 22. So when we're making these decisions, 16, 12, 13, at 12, we were stealing cars, right? Playing with guns, selling drugs. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. You're making these decisions, right? You're making these adult decisions. You're making permanent decisions before you're fully able to do so, right? So a part of my workshop is exposure, right? When I build with these young men and these young women, and even on the regular, when I build with kids from my neighborhood, I say, yo, listen, like, you don't gotta rap. I rap. You don't gotta rap. You don't gotta play ball. You could be an anthropologist. You could be a psychologist. You could be an entrepreneur. You could be a podcaster. You could be a social media influencer. But how do I expect you to know that, right, if it's not presented to you, if you're not exposed to it? That's my job, right? That's our job. But I've taken that responsibility on, all right, that's what I'm gonna do, right? So the thing about it is this: if every time that you come outside and all you see is the individuals that's doing whatever it is that they doing, they trapping or they vibing, then that's what you're gonna aspire to be. That's what I saw. That's what I understood at the end of the day. And so yeah, so I just want to touch on that. Yeah, absolutely. But our young people need exposure. They need exposure to what they can possibly be. I didn't know what an anthropologist was until I was 24 and I was in prison and I had an anthropology class and my teacher, Dr. Zesserson, yeah, I'm an anthropologist. I said, man, what is that? Right? And this is real talk, and I say this humbly, I'm a very intelligent individual. I was never exposed to that. Right? The study of man. Right? The study of men. When I say men, I mean people, humans, the history, the culture, right? She was a cultural anthropologist, so she studied cultures all over the world and compared them to one another. Right? But like I said, like I tell young people about these different positions that they could have. So I think that's important, man. Exposure, first and foremost, exposure, right? So as you mentioned, my name is SoRich. The name of my company is SoRich Entertainment. But let me explain. So a lot of times when people think of being rich, they think of money. Money is good. Get your money, right? But don't forget that outside of money, we are so rich in so many other things. So rich in family, so rich in community, right? Let's study. We have knowledge. So rich in education. That's where this comes in, what you're talking about. Listen, let's expose these people to the world. Let's educate them, right? Let's provide them with another form of currency, knowledge, wisdom. So to touch on what you said, yeah, I absolutely see that. Absolutely.
It's it's always interesting when just to hear other brothers chop it up, because I always tell somebody that you got to put yourself in an uncomfortable position to be comfortable.
Talk that.
You get used to being around things that you think is your norm, but it's all a program, man. Everything, like prison is a program. When you start watching it enough, the big homie went there, your cousin went there, your uncle. It's like, okay, eventually I'm gonna go there too, and you assimilate into that program. Now, it's the same program if you said, okay, my uncle started a dental practice. My cousin, he's an attorney. I'm gonna go ahead and become an engineer, and I'm gonna develop it. It's the same thing. It's a program, but your mind, your subconscious, in order to really believe that, you have to constantly be reassured that that's your norm. So if your norm, like you said, is trapped and hanging out, then your mind is basically focused on that. It's like, I always use the analogy where when you're a kid and you had a little magnifying glass and you hold it like this and you wait and the sun beams through it and you make a leaf go catch on fire, burn a hole through a leaf. It's the same thing when you're trying to change a behavior. Unless you put enough energy into focusing on changing that behavior, it's not going to change. So it's like you got to really believe that this is going to be your new reality. And for a lot of people, I had a vision board on my wall, and in prison, before I lay down and go to bed, I had my little pictures up there, little nice places, some stuff, different things, and I would see sometimes the guards go in the room and they shut the door. I know they'd be up in there, and I'd walk by, they'd be looking at my vision board, trying to look at all the stuff on the wall.
Cool.
And they'd be like, Tim, what's that? You gonna get that stuff when you get out? I'm like, yeah. What you gonna do? I said, I got plans, man, but I ain't gonna be doing what whatever you think I'm doing. Yeah. I'm not maxed out. You maxed out here. This is it. But I'm not maxed out. And so, like and I used to catch a lot of shit from even other individuals. They see me walking with a Forbes or a Fortune, a DuPont, Robb Report. Man, you always with the magazines, man. Well, the thing is, see, you're in a different wavelength than I am. I'm vibrating at a totally different frequency. This is my norm. Where yours is down here. I'm here by default, and I can tell people I'm passing through. I'm not an inmate. I'm not a convict. I'm passing through. You can call me Big Herc, Mr. Timmons, Marcus, but I'm not an inmate or convict, man. You can't program me. You're not gonna let that program become a virus in my database. I'm not gonna allow that, so it's not gonna affect what I'm doing. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that they got viruses in their program, and their program is garbage. They gotta delete that whole thing and start fresh. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. You were able to do it, but like you said, you were able to see what was going on as far as the code, so you were able to see that and pull out. But if and I'm quite sure you experienced it, and myself, you share certain things with certain people, and not everybody can see the code. And it's fortunate that us out here being blessed to have the opportunity to share with others, because you got a gift. Not everybody has that.
Cool.
Not everybody can see the code. Not everybody can break the code down. A lot of people, like you said, they might not catch it until they damn near in their 60s. They're like, God, man, I remember dude was talking about this shit and I didn't catch it back then. So, being able to articulate that is a gift and a blessing within itself, because you can explain certain things to certain people, but not everybody's gonna catch what's really going on. And that's why we're dealing with so much chaos and stuff in a lot of these communities with young people, because dude, they're in that low frequency vibrational pattern, and it's so strong. And if you can't separate yourself to see discerning the difference, and you can't pull out. It's like that, you know, when you going on, you got the little thing at the playground, and you try to jump on there, and it throw you off, and a lot of people don't know how to get off that thing. And so that is that in itself is one of the big things I feel like among a lot of the young youth, and just in general what's going on with society, and why we have just this behavior going on that's like ruining a certain demographic of our culture.
Yeah, you touched on so much, and as you keep talking, so much things are going off in my head, right? But the thing about it is this, like, and I'm gonna speak from a number of different perspectives right now. It's like if you've been doing what you've been doing for so long, like I said, I start at 12. We were stealing cars. My mans was a little bit older than me, like 13, 14. Like the guns was around. It was just trapping, selling drugs, right? So if you go from 12 to 20, if this is what you've been doing, this is what you've known for the past 18 years, I don't expect your mindset to be changed in a day, in a month, in a year, in 2 years. I mean, it happens, it could happen, but it may take that same 12, 18 years for you to finally reach the mindset that you want to reach. Hopefully it doesn't, right? But I understand if it does, because you've been programmed. Like you said, we dealing with program. Yeah. You've been programmed for so long to move a certain way. You've been programmed, if my pockets is low, these are my options to get bread, right? So let me tell you a story. I was in the county fighting this case, right? I was in the county, and at the time I was fighting a murder, gun charge, and like a burglary, right? So, you know, we talking on the gate, and you know, it's like 10 o'clock, so everybody talking, we talking on the gate. I'm talking to my man, however the conversation came about. We're like, yo, when I get twisted, I'm going to kick a door down. Mask on, this is what we doing. So it was a white dude on the gate. And when he said, I don't even curse, he fucked me up. He said, yo, nah. When I get twisted, you know, I go to like 4 different department stores. I take out a credit card. You know, I may take out 10,000 because my credit is A1. I may take out 10,000 card here, 10,000 card here, 10,000 card here, 10,000 card here. And he said, yeah, you know, I go max it out. When you go max it out, you don't get the full amount. But you know, I may get out of 10, I may get like 75 or 8 or something. And I just take that bread and I'll take it on my way. And I don't be cursing like that, but he fucked me up. I was taken aback. Because I said, yo, when I'm low on funds, I'm automatically going to commit a felony, probably 6 felonies in one. Because I'm like, when I was low, my first mind frame is we going to take something. And that consists of we coming in your crib, whatever, right? And I'm risking my life. Where I'm from, that's easy. 10, 15, 20, 25, they got you. I'm risking my life, and I got this other individual telling me that when he gets low, he simply goes into a department store legally, takes out a credit card, or a bank legally takes out a credit card and maxes it out. But that just illustrates the difference of the mind frame, the difference of the teaching, the difference of the programming, right? We talking about the programming, right? So I think I'm gonna bring it back, and let's talk about, you know, education. Money is one thing, but we gotta be educated. So rich in education, we gotta be educated. Education doesn't just happen inside of the school. It happens from parent to child. It happens from brother to brother, right? But like you said, when you spoke about the parent situation, like we raising each other.
Yeah.
We raising each other. Everybody I deal with, like you said, it's usually our mothers in the picture. My mother was the one that was raising me, and guess what? She got to work. She working 2 jobs. While she working 2 jobs, we outside, right? And we outside, we raising ourselves, we raising each other. And we don't really know too much, right? So we going off of what we understand at the time. We going off of what we see at the time. So that programming is necessary. But again, I put the weight on the individuals who know better, the older generation, for the youth.
That's right.
right? So now you spoke about you spoke about how you was moving through and you had the Forbes or you had the magazine and dude was like, yo, what you doing with that? So I remember one time, it's my man, and it's my man from the town. He from Roosevelt. I'm from the Port. I'm from Freeport, Long Island, New York. Boom. So it's my man that right quick. So when he came to the jail, I was already in college at the time, but when he came to the jail, pardon me, when he came to the jail, we was off. Summer breaks. I'm off for like 2 months. So he from the town. We chilling, we piling, we working out, you know, we building, So by the time the semester came back around, I told him, I said, yo, listen, semester about to start over. I'm about to lock in. I gotta do my thing. Right? I got 4 classes, I got 5 classes, I need to graduate. So he like, yeah. So the first day of school come up, boom. He come to my cell door locked. Everybody's cell open, my cell door locked. I'm in a cell like this, huh? I got the big stupid dictionary open, boom. I got 3 books open right here, and I'm studying. And he looking at me, he like, yo, open your cell. I'm like, nah, I'm studying, bro. He said, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Open your cell. I said, nah. And then he started calling my man. I'm like, yo, come here, look at this. Look at him, he bugging. He got the big ass book, he faking it. He think I'm faking it.
Yeah.
Cause he can't that's my man, but he just can't even understand why I'm locked in a cell with a 5,000 page dictionary and 3 other books around. I can't be reading all those books, and I'm writing up. He couldn't. That's my man. He couldn't understand it because that's not what he was used to. Right? So we talk about the programming. Eventually, he got it because I was firm enough to know what I wanted, and I was firm enough to stand by my vision. If you with it or not, it's my man, it's my brother, but it don't matter. If you with it, if you my man, you my brother, you gonna fall in line, you gonna respect what I'm doing.
That's right.
Right? So it took like a few weeks, and he finally like, oh, all right, this is him. This is really him. But I say that to say you gotta be focused. You gotta be determined. Right? Like that's a currency within itself. That's belief, right. Determination, dedication. So rich in belief, so rich in determination, so rich in dedication that regardless of what's happening around you, you know what you want.